everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your third, The Crowded Room episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big bird world. I officially I am confused in a very, I have no idea where this is going. And, the last two episodes were morely okay, they were where they were, and this one was more of the same until that second half, where honestly I was legitimately and this is like my one gripe when it comes to telling your story in backwards, or at least via the perspective of flashbacks and stuff like that, because you really don't know that you can't really invest in the main characters getting into very dangerous situations because you already know that they're going to be alive. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I am legitimately confused on what the heck is going on. What the heck is going on with this premise? And I'll be honest. I have heard some people say that this some twist, a certain twist in the end, it was okay. I'm like a mile away. I honestly didn't really know until we got to that moment. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of predictable. Not really predictable. More like I didn't expect it, but it wasn't really properly set up well, in my opinion. I don't know. It wasn't when you really connect the dots, because you don't really expect it. I really didn't. And honestly, to say the least, this episode opens up more questions than answers. But I feel like this episode kind of loosely wraps up everything that episode 1 was starting up in terms of the whole how did certain characters get in position for when we first start the show. And now going into hope whenever 4 takes us next, is that I am legitimately confused how the hell they're gonna stretch this out for 7 more episodes. I am legitimately confused. I really am. And maybe that's gonna be the specialty of it, that they're going to present something a little bit different, because maybe it was just these first episodes were kind of rough to get for establishing the characters, establishing what this story could eventually end up being, but in reality that's not really making much sense to me right now still. Or maybe it is, but you have to watch more of the remaining episodes to understand it all. But in terms of finishing up this, the first 3 that they released, so now by the time I'm recording this, I'm caught up, and release schedule wise, we're still behind, because 4 comes out, I think, tomorrow when I'm recording this. There's still a lot more questions, there's still a lot more answers, but with this episode, I think of the 3, I probably enjoyed this the most, but it still doesn't really leave me in the whole I really want to see, because now I'm actually in the territory where I'm very curious to see now. They finally piqued me after 2 episodes. They finally piqued my curiosity. What the heck are they going to do next? What is the next big thing they're going to take me for a loop for? Where is the show going next? It's starting to it's just, I'm actually curious now. I'm actually curious. So congratulations. With that being said, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Crowded Room. So we begin with Raya after she went to Danny's old temporary household, where she found his journal. So it was actually confirmed to be his journal with all the water paintings. They go. She takes it to. I'm guessing. I thought it was her boyfriend for a second, or someone she was living with. But she takes it to one of the detectives on the case just after hours, and she shows them the book. And the only thing that's puzzling to them, or at least striking out to them, is that all these watermark paintings are everyone that has disappeared out of Danny's life right now, and they're just curious. Is this kind of a murder confession sheet? Are these all the murders that he committed? We don't know. We still don't know. We cut back to the next day in the room. They're having another session, and they're kind of picking up again where they left off last time, where Danny and Adriana go to a diner. They have a little lunch, and as much as they low-key, they kind of do want to talk about what's going on. Danny's still suggesting, hey, if you don't want to talk about it, I completely understand. We could just stay here in silence, just enjoy a meal, and that's it. And she's expressing a little bit of her, of her trauma from her past, that she is into the guy that we saw in the last episode, but they have been very much she's too scared to get close to him because of the trauma she's been through when she was younger, where her dad had a friend that raped her when she was younger, and that it's still left a scar on her, that it's more like she can't really trust anyone like a male into her life right now because of that experience, and it's something that she's trying to work for, but she is admitting that the guy is close by to them. That it's someone that's still, even though she's not living with her parents anymore, that it's still an individual that's still close to her, and she is at times fearful of what he could do to her if he was to get the opportunity to do so. Danny being kind of like trying to be the good guy here, while he's playing basketball with one of his friends, he asks his other friend, the drug dealer, if he can arrange a meeting with the main, like the top brass dog, dealer that we saw in the first episode, if he could set up a meeting for them. He's a bit concerned and like a bit like hesitant because like the last time they saw each other, he was threatening him with a knife point blank over a year ago. So it's not quite the smartest move, but Danny doesn't really say he doesn't have much of an option. Like he just please set up the meeting. I'll take care of the rest. Don't worry about it. So they head over to Brooklyn, where he's living now. So he's kind of moved up in the world. They arrive at his apartment. He's kind of like being teaseful. Like he's not like too much of a dick anymore. But he's still like kind of like the cold-hearted, cynical bastard he is. And yeah, so the main reason why Danny's here is, well, originally it was thought that he was just going to try and buy coke for some reason. But no, he wants to buy a gun off him because he's the only, I guess, illegal person that would have access to firearms illegally. And the guy doesn't deny it. He's a little shocked that Danny wants to, but then he starts playing around like, you know what? I'll give you the gun, but money is not going to be a form of payment this time. And the guy wants a blowjob. He wants a blowjob. Actually, no, it's insinuated he wants a blowjob at first. Danny is initially hesitant. He just wants to pay him the money and then get the hell out of there. But he's like, no. You come into my house, you set up a meeting, and you're asking me all these things, and of course I'm gonna set the demands. I'm gonna set what the price point, and if it's not money, if it's a hand job, a blow job, then it's gonna be what it is. And Danny's trying to plead with him to do it. Eventually he's just deciding to leave and just leave well enough alone. But he's like, no. Like, you know what? You're disrespecting me by putting this deal on, this supposed agreement on the table, and now you're backing out of it. How do you feel? I feel like that's just not how it works. So eventually he's like, okay, no, you will get this gun. You will be giving me a hand job. And, that's going to be about it. So they decided to head off to another private locations they could do so, which I'm like, you're in an apartment. This is the most private you're going to get right now. But okay, sure. Let's leave the household to another unidentified location that's easier to escape through. We'll cut to more about that in a second. So they're walking with him, but the friend's like, no, this is not right. This is not, you do not want to mess with this guy, down there. There's so many things you can do, and you're crossing so many lines, but for what? And of course, Danny's not giving the reason why he wants the gun, but he's just telling him, listen, just trust me, bro. I got this. And the guy's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm gonna leave you. You're on your own here. So he leaves. Danny and the dealer go over to a park nearby, but I'm like, they leave the door relatively open, which I'm like, bro, first of all, why? And there were people still walking around, and it's all of a sudden these two guys go into a dark room and don't even close the door. I mean, come on, really? No. I mean, I know it's the 70s, but still, I mean, come on, privacy, man. You better close that door. Also, if someone tries to sneak attack you or sneak up on you, at least the door will at least provide you with some protection at least. But this honestly was a scary scene. This honestly, again, another really a really well acted performance by Tom and the actor who plays the drug dealer, where the dealer literally is so he's cold. He's just you're gonna do this now or you will die. And Danny's just terrified. He's trembling. It became the confidence of this is gonna get done to the wimpiness of I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to go through with this. And he has to open his mouth, and it's getting close. But his friends show up at the nick of time to hit the guy in the head with a board. The two run away as fast as they could. They thankfully hop on. This is the one thing conveniently for some reason with the MTA in movies and film if you ever need one, you're in a chase scene, or you definitely need to get somewhere ASAP, it's always right there. It's like always right there. Meanwhile, for me, every time I show up for my trains, it's like it's always just delayed, always delayed, never on time. Which I'm like, of course, this is how my life is. So they get away. They manage to get the gun, and they're like, you know what? Let's, we survived. We're gonna go back home, and we're gonna be fine. Which I'm like, dudes, he used to live in your area. I mean, I'm pretty sure, and you freaking not kicked his out, but like you bruised him. You angered the beast. Like, this is not going to go, like, just because he's in Brooklyn does not mean he has the means of a train or a car. We'll cut to more about that in a second. Danny heads back home. He meets up with Ariana. He shows her the gun and saying, like, like, this is for you. Like, if anything, if this guy ever comes near you again, you can use this to protect yourself. So Danny was definitely just trying to do this to get validation from her and also trying to be a good person and trying to protect her. Which I'm like, dude, like, you were... In another reality, you were about to suck this guy's dick for a gun for a woman that again, it's nice. It's good to be a nice person, but like there are some limits. Like there's definitely some limits, and that was like you're crossing so many of them in that moment. Adriana is toying with the idea of like having a gun, but she's like, no, this is a bad idea. Like just get rid of it, get it out of the way, and like let's leave it be. Back over to like present day, Rise is noticing like, wait, you got the gun for Adriana. And, it's like, right now, like, like everything you're saying from the story is genuine and true, but like, you're really not helping the case of like, it wasn't your fault. Like, you're definitely trying to like, there's just too many evidence that goes against you. And, again, like, Danny's just like, why are you always assuming that I'm the one at fault? Like, I'm just telling you the story. We cut to the next day. One of Danny's friends show up to greet him, saying that, oh, today's the day. Like you might finally get laid. And Danny's like, because he made plans with Annabelle that day to go hang out and everything. And Danny's like, oh crap, I forgot about that. Today was that day. So she comes over. She's bringing a kite for their date / not date, not whatever you want to classify it as. And yeah, so they're enjoying their day, they're kissing, they're having fun, and it's like, one of those rare days where like Dan's just enjoying himself. Like he's just, very much at peace with her, like trying to like, enjoy life as it's meant to be. They're talking about college, about how like, even though the Danny didn't finish high school, he officially dropped out. That he can still get his GED and still apply to college. It's not a done dream. He could still come to it, and especially since like, well, we know that he has an interest in art, that he could definitely go to college for that, like, and, he'll definitely find something how to do that. But they're enjoying their company. It starts raining by the time they start heading back home. By the time they get there, she starts stripping a little bit, but, they're having fun. They're about to whip out the whiskey bottle and, enjoy each other's company. And I thought, okay, Danny's going to get some. He's finally going to get some, like a little upside to his tragedy in the last couple of years. But no, actually, she comes back with his journal, and which I'm like, why is the journal in the kitchen? But you know what? Never mind. And she's like actually impressed by his work, and that it's really good. Like these are very well done, and honestly, it's just more validation for Danny. Howard Danny overhears something, and he just assumes it's the landlord, but he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let's go back to my bedroom. Let's go back to my bedroom and see what happens. So. She's just looking at all the drawings, looking at everything he's done. And she asked him, oh, you know what, let me bring this journal back with me to college. Let my art teacher, like my art professor, take a look at it. Maybe this could be even further validation. Like you could go to college for this. This is a genuine career path. And for a moment, I feel like Danny like is at peace where like there is a potential future for him that isn't like, stuck in where he is in life right now. They start kissing, but she decides to kind of, stop their little grinding session and decides to take a shower first. But she already finds him passed out drunk a little bit, so she decides just to sleep with him and just, enjoy the night together. But later that night, someone breaks in, which explains the broken glass from when we saw Raya enter the household last episode in the present day. It is the drug dealer. He's back. And I'm a little curious, like, how does he know his address? Like, unless he went to his friend's house and, like, basically forced it out of him. Like, I don't know how he found this house, too convenient. They've only had one interaction from when we remember, but I'm like, convenience. Eventually, Danny accidentally makes a noise with Annabelle, and then the guy notices, so he starts to head upstairs. Danny scurries away to find something somehow to, like, help him. help him out in this precautious tale. But sadly, Annabelle makes noises in her room or in their room. So the guy goes to her, and he gets mad. Like it's like, okay, this woman found me with a gun. I'm breaking in and entering. I'm gonna kill her. So he starts choking her out. Danny's nowhere to be found. And finally, out of all places, in like almost 2 episodes, the landlord just conveniently shows up. He was in his room the whole time, which I'm like, wait, are you telling me you did not hear Danny with this girl like all night? Like not a peep in this old house that I'm pretty sure has no insulation and has no way to like actually muffle the noises. Like, I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. This is all just convenience for convenience sake. So he comes in, he saves her, he beats up the guy, he like really beats him to a pulp. Like it's really bloody. He whips out a gun. He's about to shoot him. However, he only fires a warning shot, letting him know that he has to leave and he has to go right now and never come back here. So he runs away like a little coward. Danny all of a sudden comes out, goes to Annabelle trying to comfort her, and she's like, no, I need to get away from you. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but like, I need to get away from you right now. Of course, the landlord gets pissed about many things. About number one, you're drinking my whiskey. 2, you brought a girl home to have sex with, even though they didn't have sex with, and 3, you brought a gun. So even Adrian tries to come in to soften the blow, maybe like at least give them off with a warning. It doesn't work. He wants both of them out right away. That this is over. Like they have to leave now. And I can feel for Danny, because like again, like he had his moment where like it felt like things were going good for him, and then all of a sudden in one fell swoop, it's all over. It's all done. He has to leave by the end of that day. He decides to smoke a little weed outside the house before he starts packing up. The stepdad shows up, asking Danny like, hey, just come home. Just your mom's like, wants you back, and we can work on an arrangement. We can like figure out a way for you to like, stay with us again permanently. Danny doesn't respond. The stepdad decides to leave and like, leave him alone. So Danny starts packing, just wondering where the hell is he going to go now? Like, what is his next move now? Adriana starts to like, change the subject a little bit, like trying to like, talk about like, the guy and saying like, that we still can, make the best of it. Like, since we're both going to be, homeless again, that we can at least make sure that guy that's been, that hurt Adriana will no longer hurt her in like wherever she goes next. So that's where kind of like, the wheels start to get in motion. That's like kind of introduction with what Raya said, like, are you sure that Adriana wasn't trying to manipulate you to like just basically help her out with her own interests? And even Danny finally agrees, like, yeah, it was kind of obvious from then, but like, in the moment he just felt like he was just helping a friend, but that wasn't the case. And then they were starting to put more emphasis on who the rapist was, who was the actual person. And that's when it all started coming to place, that it turns out to be his stepdad. The whole time it was his stepdad. And I was just like, yeah, that wasn't really set up very well. Like, it really wasn't. Like, I guess the only clue was like, oh, he's still around me, which I'm like, I guess when like he could have been in the city where you go to parties to, like, it doesn't have to always be like it's literally right around where you live. They didn't clarify that pretty well, nor did they give like that many hints. Like, we knew the guy was a dick, we knew that much, but we didn't really get too much into it after that. So that raised more questions than answers for me personally, and I'm just confused. Even Rise asking the obvious questions, like, isn't it a coincidence that you went to a house with that a woman lives there that happened to be raped by your own stepdad, and conveniently you were all under the same roof for less than 2 years, and everything's just too coincidental. And honestly, for me, I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit too coincidental. Like, there was definitely something more at play here, but none of them are really eager to admit it right now. And so, and then that's when Danny like starts to realize, or at least like makes the corner of like, oh no, I knew that, but like this was all part of the larger plan to actually, like, the whole purpose was like, because, and I forgot about this scene, like maybe I didn't pay much attention when we were watching the first episode, maybe I missed this line when when Danny came back after the whole thing happened in Rockefeller. He went straight back to the house, and the landlord gave him like the passport, he gave him some money, and he's like, go find your father. And I'm like, well, at least that's what this flashback indicates. And that's when Danny is boarding a plane to go to somewhere to go meet his dad. And I'm just like, wait, what? The fuck? Like I'm actually flabbergasted, and that's what I meant. Like my curiosity is piqued not too much because I want to see what the heck's going on here, because now I'm missing so much information. Like I am missing so much. What is going on? Like, you know, and so now, so in my assumption, when Danny got the password and the money, I thought immediately later that night, when he came back, when he was still at the house, that was still the same day. So no, it turned out to be a different day entirely. And I'm just like, so he left the country? He was a wanted man. I'm pretty sure they didn't ID him yet, but like, you're telling me he boarded a plane to go to basically a whole, assuming with the passport, to another country, and he came back, and I'm like, y'all never really, like, you know, fought to check airports? Like, I really don't know. Like, even I'm confused. I'm really confused how all this connects to. I'm really confused now, and not in a good way. I'm really am. And that was the end of the episode, by the way, when he was on the plane already. But I'm like just so confused. I'm like, well, first of all, the stepdad said twist was not. It wasn't expected. I didn't call it, so I give him kudos for that. But it wasn't properly said. There wasn't like enough breadcrumbs to really think about. I just thought it was just some random dude. I really did. I didn't really think much of it at the time. And now the other thing is like, well, so wait, Danny had a whole side thing about his dad, and we never even, like, his real dad, like, not the stepdad, but like, when was that even set up? Like, how did we get that even set up? Like, you know, I didn't even once mention their dad. I know he mentioned his brother, Alex, from before, and I'm like, that's the only real thing we talked about besides his mom. So I'm like, where's the dad? Obviously, I knew he had a biological dad, but I just assumed he died. So I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I'm legitimately confused. I'm completely, like, lost for words over here. But, like, but it's not in a good way, really. Like, you know, I am curious to see what the next thing is. How are they going to tie this all together? But, like, for me, I'm just dumbfounded. Like, what is going to be the overall, how do we really end this? I mean, I know we're only on episode 3, but I'm like, I'm just confused as hell right now. Like, and I mean, some people would say, oh no, that's a great twist. Like, you know, that's like, oh no, there's more to the story. But I'm like, I get that, but like, it wasn't really set up very well. Like, we didn't get enough hints about it. Like, you know, on both the stepdad and the dad front, like, there wasn't that much hint. Like, we were just mainly finding about Danny's life before the whole show began, the events of the series began. That was what we were trying to find out. And like, never once, maybe if I'm wrong, please correct me, but like, never was that once picked up. That wasn't. But despite the confusions, I was very impressed by some of the performances in this episode. Definitely, like, you know, there was actual tension. There was like actual, you know, what is going to happen next, even though we kind of know what's going to happen next. So like, and certain moments, not everything, but like certain moments. But that definitely does give credence to, like, this is the best episode of the 3 so far. It's not like an amazing episode, mind you, but definitely I'm like, okay, it was a good episode. It was good. And I'm actually like, I'm hopeful this is going to be getting an incline that, like, as we get to the next 7 episodes, that we will begin to understand more about what the larger story is. Where is Adriana? How did the landlord die? What is the dad? What is the stepdad? Like, there's obviously, the more I'm talking about, like, there obviously is material for the next 7 episodes. There is, but in my head, I'm just like, there's just still a lot to unpack, and there's a lot they got to do, and I'm still scared. Like, just the quality of these episodes, like, I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to, like, really stick the landing, but we'll find out. We will find out. We got 7 more weeks to go, 6 more weeks, to figure out what is next in this very confusing story. But with that being said, I'm giving this episode 1.25 thumbs up. I'll give it that. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of The Crowded Room. Let's have a conversation down below, as always. But I believe it's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's to Do from ActionX, reviewing every episode in The Crowded Room. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's to Do besides our Crowded Room episode reviews, right now we're currently doing Nancy Drew episode reviews each and every week after brand new stuff on the CW. So go check them out there. If you don't care about The Crowded Room, you're in luck. We'll be back very soon with another brand new episode review. And then I believe I'm going to post this on Monday. And I'm going to have the next episode review out before on Thursday. So we should hypothetically be caught up by next week's Saturday. This week's Saturday. We should be caught up finally. And then going forward, all new episode reviews would hopefully be coming out every Friday night. That's at least the goal. We'll see how it goes. We still have a long way to go for this show. But We shall see. We shall very much see. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. And ring the bell for more updates. And also follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you, for everyone watching, thank you so much for watching. But until next time, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.